Okay. Hi, this is Christy Powell with Women Talk Construction. I am here today with Angela Gardner and Christine Yerkes. Correct? Did I say that right? Yerkes? Okay.
Yes.
You got it right.
Okay.
Yerkes.
Anyway, we're all human, right? I should have asked that first with too many other things going on this morning. Anyway, I'm just going to start again for our audio. Let's do
Okay.
that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just
No,
if
I should have
you
asked.
lost your keys. Yerkes.
Okay. You lost
I
your
can
keys.
fix this straight hair.
Yerkes.
You
That's
lost
driving me crazy.
Yes, you can. Yay.
All right, now I'm good.
Okay.
I'll stop fidgeting.
Hey, podcast listeners. This is Christy Powell with Women Talk Construction. I'm here with Angela and Christine
Hello.
Yerkes, and she is joining us today to talk about a lot of things. But one of the things we're going to talk about first thing this morning, as we continue to have more conversations helping women want to enter our industry, is what are the challenges we're finding with this new infrastructure bill and all the construction? Well, I'm going to start by saying I have to go to a Columbia meeting and leave an hour early because of the construction on 26 going towards Columbia, South Carolina. How about you, Angela? What kind of joys or aggravations are you getting out of the infrastructure bill and all the construction with bridges and roads?
Well, it's a lot. But you know what? I'm going to go to the reason why we need it. It's because
Good
every
one.
time I drive down the street, I barely even see a South Carolina driver's tag now. It's
Oh,
always an out of state tag. And that's causing a lot of this too. I wonder if Christina's seen that in where she lives as
Yep.
well.
Yeah. We're in Florida, home of the snowbird, or
Yeah.
not home of the snowbird. But anyway, they're all flooding down, especially with current weather. So it seems like our state bird is a traffic cone. And
mm,
you get all sorts of people mixing on the roads, and it's freaking dangerous.
Oh,
but
yeah.
but
it
we
is.
need it desperately. This state's growing so fast.
Y'all
It
are
is. It
growing.
feels like everybody is,
The
doesn't it?
Southeast is just booming and
Southeast.
It
our
is.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people from California even coming this way.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Christine, tell us. I mean, I know how amazing you are, and I've gotten to meet you in person, and we had a really fun dinner. I want to say that was in DC. Were we in DC? Yes, we were.
Yes, we were. That was
Yes,
fun.
we were. That was fun. And we even got an Uber together, I think. Anyway, while we were in
Yes.
the Uber, I got to hear just a little bit of Christine's story at dinner and in the Uber and thought that the whole world needed to hear your story. So give the audience just a small background of, what you're doing and who you are and why you have a passion for helping women in our industry.
Oh goodness. Late 80s, graduated, went to the Navy because I ran out of money in college, like a lot of people. They got me
Oh.
a scholarship. So I became a Navy Civil Engineer Corps officer
Nice.
and stayed active duty until my second daughter, and then went reserves, had a great time, and became eventually a civilian with the government. Um, and stayed in the reserves, retired from the reserves after 23 years, which was great, a great deal. If anybody wants to try that, it's fun.
Yes.
Um, and then worked as a civilian for a long time and just kind of needed something different. So I decided to take the contractor exam just to see if I could pass it. Passed it and thought, oh, now I've got to do something with it. So opened a company for consulting in 2014 and quit my government job. Well, took an early retirement after a really almost fatal accident and
Oh, wow.
reprioritized my life in 15 and started working as a general contractor for government contracts.
Nice. And you're very good at it, I've seen.
Well, thank you
So
for having fun.
that leads me to one of my first questions. You worked on the Trinity River floodway. What were some of the most significant challenges you and your team faced during the demolition of those historical bridges in that area? And how did you overcome them, especially considering the proximity to an operating elevated commuter train?
Ooh.
Well, that one was tough.
I
The
can't even imagine.
Oh.
That the hardest part was getting on site because if you work for the Army Corps of Engineers, you know that the paperwork's very, very intense. Luckily, we're pretty good at it because I used to be on the other side working
Right.
shouldn't say other side. I used to be a government employee, so I knew the paperwork. But oh my
Right.
goodness, how hard it is as a contractor. I need to apologize to my contractors. But anyway, um,
It is, isn't it?
yeah, but once you're on site, it was it was in the floodplain. So there was levees on either side, downtown Dallas, which unfortunately isn't one of the safer places to work.
Mm-mm.
So being in the
No.
floodway, you're out of view of police and anybody that might be able to help you if there was an issue. And there were three different types of bridges. One was wood, over 100 years old. One was concrete. One was steel. And really the hardest part was to wrap your mind around working in a floodway, that if they called you, you had to get $3 million worth of equipment out of that floodway in minutes, because something might be coming if there's a storm north of us. So that was the hardest part, was getting all those risk assessments settled. And then the other part was I'm amateur historian, so it was really hard to take down a bridge that was old. So we decided to do it with respect. And honestly, the best thing we ever did was hire a local contractor. We were able to watch his videos of demolition online. And we saw one where the building didn't quite go down, and the guy behind the camera had a great sense of humor. And I thought, okay, I'm a warped sense of humor kind of person. Let's work with this company. That company just were amazing. So
that's awesome.
we
What was
were
the name
really
of it?
lucky. Lloyd Neighbors Demolition
Nice.
in Dallas or Dallas area. So really the best thing that we did was hire a really good sub. So once we got on site, the realistic risks were, of course, flooding, but hogs. There were wild hogs everywhere. I could be
Really?
out in the back of my truck looking at plans, and our safety guy, who's also my husband, would call and say, "Hog alert, get in the bed of your truck."
Really?
Yes. And fire.
Well, you don't hear that every day.
No, you
No.
don't. Actually, we do. We have a farm, and I've got 20 hogs that we don't need. Anybody want to go
I
hunt?
don't hear that every day.
And the other thing is the public outcry about bringing down a historic bridge, because of course it was in the news, and
that's
so
tough.
so it was okay. The way we handled it is we just stopped, and the guys would keep working, and the leadership for Yerkes would just go out and chat with people and say, "Hey, this is why we're doing this. You're going to get a really nice park here," because that's why we were taking them down, because they were dangerous. Frankly, they were deadly dangerous. And you climb up on one of these bridges, which was very easy to do, and it was 23 feet tall with no safety measures. So anyway, so we took them down, and a lot of people who came by to say goodbye to the bridge left with a souvenir. We gave, and hopefully the railroad company's not listening, but we gave away railroad spikes. And believe me, when we had a excavator that had a 6.5-foot claw working next to a new commuter train within 10 feet, there was a lot of sucking into the breath.
I bet.
But the guy that was running
makes me want to do that now.
It was crazy, but the guy running that piece of equipment was amazing.
He had to be.
He never a risk in his mind. So we brought her down in record time and finished 3 months early.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing you did too was 86% recycling rate of materials.
Ooh.
I mean, tell us a little bit about that. Elaborate on that. That's some pretty innovative sustainability, especially when you're talking about wood, concrete, and steel.
Well, yeah, it wasn't easy. Really, the best thing that we did, number one, hire great contractors, subcontractors. That's all they do. All they do is demo. And we went through many, many meetings before we even mobilized, saying, how are we going to do this? And trying to assess the risks. And this company didn't work for the federal government a lot. So we spent a lot of time saying, you have to do it this way.
Oh, yeah.
This is the way we're going to do it. This is the way we have to sort it. Because we had to get everything every night out of the floodplain. Because just in case there was a flood, because all the debris. So anyway, long story short, they just picked everything apart and placed it in piles. And fortunately, concrete with steel in it can be taken to the concrete plant, and they'll sort it.
Nice.
So that helped a lot. So really, it wasn't hard to get the 86% rate after you had figured out the weights of everything and the percentages, and then had that we had 3 equipment operators, 3 pieces of equipment, all of them working together. to sort all this into 3 piles.
That's awesome.
That
and then
is.
carry it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Well, first off, I want to say that it is extremely hard to get your Florida license, builder's license. I
Oh,
just want to
yeah.
note that on here. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
So I want to ask this question. As a woman in a male populated industry, which you've been there pretty much all of your career, what strategies have you employed to successfully navigate and lead in the construction and federal contracting sectors? Like, what advice would you give other women seeking, to excel in a similar role as yours, or either, move up that ladder and be CEO like you did?
Don't go in there thinking you're a minority. You're just
Yeah.
you. Just be yourself.
Be yourself. Love
Um,
that.
don't go in there thinking I'm a woman. They're all men. Go in there thinking I am a woman.
I got this. Yeah.
And you just got to go. Honestly, early on, there were a lot of problems with men and women working together in construction.
Mhm.
I just turned a blind eye to it, and I was myself. And if they didn't like me, who cared?
Yeah.
I could care at home and cry at home, but I had
Right.
an outward persona of this is the way it's going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's amazing when you talk to people and you know what you're talking about, and you work harder than they do, you work longer hours than they do, how you eventually earn their respect. And if you don't earn their respect, they're not worth getting their respect.
Right. They're not your people, right?
So just be yourself. And, and if you're a comedian at heart, that never hurts to have a
It doesn't.
a dry sense of humor, but you also have to be dignified and represent yourself well. Don't go in there like a little schoolgirl if you're 22 years old working with 50, 60-year-old men. Don't worry about it. You're you. You've got your qualifications. You're there too for a reason.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about the image you have in your own head, right?
right. And
Yeah.
what I would strongly advise anybody going into construction and they want to move up, join professional societies, learn how to speak. I speak at every conference I go to. It's free marketing. It's
Nice.
also, if I didn't speak every few months, I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk to you. I'd be a nervous wreck.
Right. It just
But
helps take the edge off, doesn't it?
yeah, Toastmasters, anything. Join the
Mhm.
Society of Women Engineers. Join Women in Construction. Talk
Yeah.
to older women. Just gain that confidence. And if you're not confident, act like you are.
Yes.
That's
If you
Fake it
as
till you
if,
make
awesome
it.
advice.
as if becomes reality.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we've kind of already highlighted how you have an amazing, extensive amount of experience, and especially in the military and federal construction. Could you share some of the key insights into the unique challenges and opportunities presented by the projects you've been on, and how they differ from other types of construction work?
Oh, goodness. There's nothing more different than federal and commercial construction.
True.
I haven't done a lot of commercial, but you see it out there and you know what's going on. Federal construction is highly, it is almost all paperwork.
Mm.
If you can get the paperwork done and work through it with the government as a team, you'll be okay in the beginning. If you start thinking, why do they do this? Why do I have to submit this? This is stupid. You're not going to win.
No.
Just give it up and do it, or hire somebody to do it for you that knows how to do it. And
Great advice.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
ask if you could do that, if you could get like somebody that knows, because it sounds like you come at it from having done it on the flip side to knowing what you have to do on the other side. And so there are consultants out there that help.
Yes, there are. And there's also people retiring from the military at 40 years old.
Right.
You've
That
got
can
Air
also
Force.
help.
Mhm.
Great.
Air Force are contracting officers as enlisted and
How would
officers.
they find them?
Just go to the bases, I guess, and go
Okay.
to the SAME meetings, go to the
SAME. Those are great.
go to technical societies. If people belong to a technical society, normally they really care about their career.
Mhm.
There's contracting officers that belong to contracting functions, or technical societies, excuse me. But it's really the paperwork that's so different in getting that done, the safety plans and all that. And then when you get on base, being able to get on base can be difficult.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you vet your people ahead of time. And then once you're on base, they're going to have rigorous safety standards. There's going to be people coming by. There's going to be people trying to tell you what to do. And sometimes it's really hard to know who to listen to. So best advice, I think, is if you're doing your first federal job, get to know the government, be honest. Hey, this is my first government job. And if you've got a good government team, they want you to succeed.
Right.
They want you to do their work. Occasionally, you'll get a team that's not so hot. They just want to see if they can put you under. But most of 99% of them aren't like that at all, no matter what people spread rumors about.
Right.
Government
Well, it
people,
wastes their
people too.
time.
It does.
Doesn't it waste their time if they
Mhm.
want you to
Mhm.
go down? I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. And then they fail because their project's not done.
Right.
So that's not the norm. And I know rumors go around a lot that the government employees are horrible to work with. Well, I was one. And all I wanted to do was get the work done. And I wanted high quality safely.
Right.
And that's what we provide as a company. So if you're working on a federal installation, just make sure you've got good qualified people doing great quality work. And if they tell you that something isn't quite right, look it up in the contract, figure it out together and correct it.
Nice.
And work as a team partner with the government. Because if you become that filthy contractor, they'll
Mhm.
bear it. They've got the
Yeah.
power to bury you,
Yeah.
Well, you
but
know,
they
it
won't.
sounds no.
All the ones that at 84 that we've had the opportunity to work with are so great.
Mhm.
They want you to succeed. They want to make sure you understand all the rules. They want to make sure that you
Yeah.
don't have any fines. Like they've been very clear up front. It hasn't been what, like you said, the rumors were.
Yep, and the rumors are not real. There
They're
are
not.
people. There are people out there. I've met some of them, but as a federal contractor, we also know where we won't work.
Right.
We know the teams that we know in Pensacola, NAVFAC, Naval Facilities Engineering Command, mouthful, has a great group of people in the main office. I love working with them. We work
Nice.
with them often. Then there's another group, maybe for somebody else that, oh no, don't go there.
Yeah.
So word
You just
gets
have to
around.
learn. Yeah,
Yeah, you
for
just have to learn.
sure.
And if you're willing to work hard and do it well with an even, calm demeanor, most people will be happy to create
Mhm.
a team with you, and they'll bring you back.
Yeah,
Repeat work is the best compliment.
Oh
it is.
yeah.
Well, and once you get through all those hurdles, right, the first contract,
Mhm.
they know that you know what they need, and so from
Exactly.
there, it gets easier for them to hire you again, so that
Exactly.
they're not having to go through that over and over again. I love that. I love it's really built in a way that makes the most sense to have relationships, right? When you build a
Right.
relationship and you get to know what they need and what you need, then the next thing you know, you have a marriage of a great opportunity, and it just keeps growing from there, and you keep growing together from there. And,
Right.
it's not just in federal contracting. If you apply that to your business as a whole, it seems to be a much better process. It's not short and easy. It's usually the long game, and you have to build those relationships to get
Yeah.
there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely the long game.
Mhm,
Well, do we
definitely.
have time for one more question,
Oh, for
Christy?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. So our next question, Christine has had loads of successful projects. So this is kind of wrapping or talking about that. In your experience working with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, what lessons have you learned that have been partially valuable or no, particularly valuable in developing and managing successful design build and renovation projects? How do you see the future of federal construction evolving in the coming years?
Hmm. Um, I think
That's a mouthful.
it
That
sure
is a
is.
mouthful.
Um, Honestly, I think just having a good attitude and being able to be personable enough to make the connections. You have to have reasonable prices to win the work.
Hmm.
And then go in there with a qualified team, go in there organized and with a great attitude and become part of the team and get the work done. And communication, there is nothing that replaces it. Bad
Mhm.
communication will kill a project. So one of the things that my mentor, when I was with the government, one of my mentors, her name was Tina, and she always looked at me and she said, Christine, you document, and then you document some more for the government. So
Yeah.
if you have it in writing, people will complain, have detailed daily reports. If you just do things the way the government wants it and you get good at it, they're going to call you
Right.
back.
Yeah.
And you do it with a pleasant attitude and understand that the government isn't rich. They don't have a ton of money. This is just an individual installation that has a limited budget. And you go in there knowing they've got a budget and that you've got a fair price. And you convey that and you're honest with them. For example, whenever there's a change order, I present all my subcontractors' proposals to the government. Here, this is for you to look at. This is what they
Nice.
gave me. And then we negotiate our rates if they feel those prices are fair. But if our price is escalated because, one generator is 1.3 million, but they thought it was only going to be 500K, I've got the proposal to show them.
Right.
So, just be open, honest, pleasant, and have a teaming environment and talk a lot.
Talk a lot.
Well, that just seems
Don't
easy.
email, don't text, talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Face to face meetings,
point.
over communicate if you have
Over
to.
communicate.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's so important in our industry. And, that's why we have to have lean conversations all the time, right? Because that communication's gone in
Yes.
a lot of areas.
Yep.
I love that. So we are changing the perception of non-traditional roles one conversation at a time. So if you were the 20-year-old Christine, what would you like to tell students if they're listening to the podcast today?
Volunteer.
Nice. Love it.
Get in with the technical societies and volunteer.
That's wonderful.
Get a leadership position. Become secretary, become vice president. Learn. These people that go to technical societies, they're the ones that care. They're the ones that are good. Get out there and volunteer, because in your company, wherever you end up working the first time, they're not going to give you a leadership position. So you got to be humble at work, very humble. But you can also be working on your skills in communication, leadership, and work on your confidence. Go to the Society of American Military Engineers, go to Women in Construction, Society of Women Engineers, and volunteer for a leadership position. Because what happens if you fail in a volunteer leadership position?
Yeah.
Nothing.
You just learn. You learn. Yep. That's it. Right?
Exactly. If you fail in your job, you might
get fired.
So volunteer for technical societies. And I can't stress that enough, because it will teach. So many people these days communicate by text, social media, and they're so shy and they don't know how to communicate. Get out there and communicate.
Yeah. That's going to put you
learn
way above the rest, right?
100%. You will be hands, and you will just be so far ahead of everybody else if you can just communicate well.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that advice.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing your story today and talking about some of your projects. We just can't wait to share your story with the world. It'll be on YouTube. But before we get off here, I want to make sure that all of our audience knows how to get a hold of Yerkes Construction Contractors. Yerkes Contractors.
Yeah.
So can you tell them how to get a hold of you?
Sure, I can do that. We do talk about Yerkes Construction a lot. It's actually Yerkes South Incorporated.
Okay.
But so many people, because we always talk Yerkes.
Yerkes.
So it's actually Yerkes South Incorporated. You Google us, you can find us at YerkesSouthInc.com. You can also reach me on email, and I'm sure the ladies here will provide my email address in the notes. Anytime. If I don't respond to your email, don't take it personally ever. Just send a follow-up. And that's the best way to get me. I give you my phone number, but I get so many calls a day. I probably won't pick up it if I don't know it.
Right.
Yeah, so
right.
Love to hear from anybody who would like to talk construction. If there's anything I can do to help people, I do enjoy coaching.
Awesome. We love that, Christine. And also, obviously, you are open to getting more work. So if there's people out there listening right now that wants a federal contractor with her experience, please reach out to her as well. Thank you again, Christine, for being on today. We really appreciate you, and hope to see you very soon, actually.
Yep, I sure
really
will.
excited about being on the Women Construction Owners and Executive Board with you in 2024.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited as well. But thank you so much.
Have a good day.
You too.